So yesterday, the Nevada State Senate voted to join on to the National Popular Vote Organization's pact to give, no matter what, to give the winner of the popular vote in the federal election, in the election for the presidency, to give them their electoral votes. This is huge, right? The governor hasn't signed it yet. I believe the vote fell along the lines in Nevada, fell 12-8, 12 Democrats versus 8 Republicans along party lines. The governor, who is a Democrat, hasn't signed on to it yet. But according to the National Popular Vote Organization, there are some 14 states, which would make Nevada number 15, that have signed on to committing their electoral votes to the winner of the popular vote, no matter what their individual state said. Now, this is highly controversial. Highly controversial because, well, number one, on the flip side, we do know what happened in 2000. I don't know if any of you were, I don't know how old you are, but I remember that was my first election. I remember how devastating it was for George W. Bush to win because of the Electoral College, and more specifically because of the Supreme Court. But that's an entirely different conversation for an entirely different day. But then we saw again with Hillary Clinton. She lost, even though she won the popular vote. The flip side of the argument is that if a president, or if our system does away completely with the Electoral College, then that would give no incentive to politicians to campaign in smaller rural areas, smaller rural states. But the counterpoint to that is that the Electoral College gives too much power to these states especially when you see the presidency being carried by someone who does not win the popular vote. We're a long way from doing away with the Electoral College, to be sure, but this is a bold statement. And this is a statement that really circumvents the Electoral College altogether, because they're going state by state by state, and they're eliminating it at that level by getting people to sign on to this compact. I can't say that I'm not concerned about rural states, but they're certainly not concerned with their over impact. They would rather have the ability to impact us in a disproportionate way than to face a situation where we actually look at the popular vote more than anything else. Now, could that potentially backfire? Clearly, right? It could potentially backfire for Democrats, but I don't really see how it would backfire anytime soon, because the popular vote is the popular vote. More Americans are progressive. I don't care, and liberal. I don't care how conservatives try to spin it. Conservatives have a very strong stranglehold on rural states: Alabama, Mississippi, Utah, deep red states. Georgia is slowly but surely turning purple, but it remains to be seen how soon it'll turn blue. But in these smaller states with extremely rural populations, Republicans have a stranglehold on them simply because it's the difference of the regions, right? Different belief systems, different cultures in those states. And they understand that they can absolutely ignore California because they know they don't stand a chance of winning in California. And so all they do is cater to these smaller states. What happens? We get nationalized politics based on the belief systems of small rural states who are clearly out of step with the majority of America. That is a problem, right? And if you want to be equitable in this, and you don't want to just play hardball politics, because I'm prone to play hardball politics with this and say to hell with them. I mean, who cares what these small states have to say when they don't care about how their politics and their belief systems are hurting millions of Americans who don't believe what they believe, right? I'm inclined to play hardball with them. If you don't care that the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to choose, why should we care when your vote doesn't really count because we do away with the electoral colleges? I mean, that's what I'm inclined to believe. But if you want to, be equitable in this, and you want to address their concerns about them not having a say in the election of the presidency, well, then you have to speak to the caliber of the candidate. Like, speak to the caliber of the candidate. If they avoid these small states, then what does that say about them as an individual and the respect that they have for all of America, right? It becomes an issue of the candidate more so than it becomes an issue about our overall system. Because right now, our overall system is being held hostage by conservative, quote unquote, values. I don't believe that they're values, but they're going to call them values. They are definitely not moral values. We are being held hostage across the nation of hundreds of millions of people. We're being held hostage by the belief systems of a few people in rural counties. And listen, I grew up in the South. I lived in Mississippi. I've lived in Alabama. I currently live in Georgia. I spent some time up north, but for the most part, I've made a tour of the South. I'm not trying to slam on the South, but listen, I mean, or even in small rural communities, some of those are great communities. But the reality of it is that right now, because of our Electoral College, these communities have been able to nationalize their local belief systems and have it trump the will of the majority. When the will of the majority is overwhelmingly progressive, we're being burdened down by the beliefs and we can leave it right there. The beliefs of a few people in some rural counties across the country.